You are 56 years old. It is a Sunday evening in November. The rain is hitting the window in that steady way that usually feels peaceful. You just finished the dishes. The house is quiet. The kids are finally grown and gone. Your spouse is upstairs reading. You open your laptop at the kitchen table. The same table you've paid bills at for 19 years. Where you taught your daughter long division. Where you had the fight about the credit card bill in 2009. Where you cried when your father died and your spouse just held your hand across the laminate. You open your 401k statement. You do this every quarter. You hate it every quarter. You have $347,000 saved, not $347,000 in a fun account. $347,000 total. Everything the 401k from your job. The little IRA from the job before that. The savings account at the credit union your mother opened for you in 1987, that still has $4,200 in it because you keep meaning to move it. You are 56. If everything goes perfectly, and nothing has gone perfectly for you in at least a decade, you might have $500,000 by 62, maybe $600,000 by 65. If you never buy a new car, never take that trip to Maine, never help your son with his wedding, and you sit there, and you do the math. $600,000, the 4% rule, $24,000 a year, $2,000 a month. Before taxes, your mortgage alone is $1,400. You close the laptop, you pour the last of the coffee. It is cold. You drink it anyway, and you think, this is not going to work. I am going to work until I drop dead. Or I am going to run out of money at 78 and move in with my daughter and feel like a failure for the last 10 years of my life. You are not wrong to think that, but here is what I need you to hear right now, before we go any further. There is a tax strategy sitting inside your 401k that the IRS will literally charge you $0 on. Zero. Most people retiring this decade have no idea it exists. And it changes everything I am about to show you. That is the third asset. I will get there. But first, let's build the foundation. My name is Maya. If you've been following this series, you've already seen the 5 purchases that quietly drain retirement. David's boat, the RV, the timeshare. And then Carol's side of that story, the 5 things worth selling before you stop working. Today, we build the other half, the assets that replace the salary. If this is your first video with me, welcome. Everything you need is right here. I have watched people retire well, and I have watched people make mistakes that cost them a decade of freedom. The difference was almost never how much they saved. It was what they did with it, and in what order. I am going to show you 3 assets that can replace your salary in retirement. We go from the foundation you already have, to the upgrades, to the advanced play, in that order. Because that is how trust actually gets built. And I want you to meet someone. Robert is 61. He retired 8 months ago, after 34 years in logistics. He has $410,000 in his 401k, Social Security coming at 62, and a house that is almost paid off. By every measure, Robert did the work. And when I asked him what went wrong in his first year of retirement, he did not hesitate. I thought I was being smart, he said. I just wanted to make my money work harder. We are going to follow Robert through all 3 assets. And by the time we get to asset 3, you will understand why wanting your money to work harder, without a clear order, is exactly how people lose $80,000 in 14 months. Let's start with the one that is already in your account. Asset number 1, index funds as an income machine. Asset number 1 is not sexy. It will not make a good thumbnail. It is a low-cost, diversified index fund portfolio, probably already sitting in your 401k right now, used as a salary machine instead of a savings pile. Here is the shift most people never make. They spend 30 years growing the pile. Then they retire and start guessing when to sell pieces of it to pay bills. Market up, sell, market down, panic. This is not a strategy. This is a prayer with a spreadsheet. The people who retire well do something different. They reconfigure the same 401k to produce income on a schedule, without timing the market, without picking stocks, and with tax treatment that beats almost everything else on this list. Here is the number that changes everything. A $600,000 portfolio in a low-cost S&P 500 index fund has historically returned 8 to 10% over long periods. You safely draw 4 to 5% per year, not by guessing when to sell, but through a structured withdrawal strategy that takes capital gains and dividends in a specific order. And here is the part the IRS doesn't advertise. Qualified dividends and long-term capital gains are taxed at 0% for most married couples, making under approximately $94,000 a year in retirement. 0%. That $30,000 a year you need to supplement Social Security. You pay nothing on it if you structure this right. You cannot do that with rental income. You cannot easily do that with a high-yield dividend portfolio. But a boring index fund, used correctly, gives you that. Robert had $410,000. If he had stayed here, structured, boring, disciplined, he would have had a retirement. Instead, he went looking for a higher number. We'll come back to that. This is your foundation. Now let's talk about the upgrade. Asset number 2, dividend stocks. Asset number 2 is dividend stocks. And right now, half of you are thinking, I already have those. My S&P fund pays 1.3%. That is not replacing anything. You are correct. And that is exactly the trap. Let me show you what went wrong for Robert. Robert is 61. He has $410,000 saved. He finds a REIT, a real estate investment trust, paying 9.2%. He puts $200,000 into it. First year, he collects $18,400 in dividends. He is thrilled. Then interest rates move. The REIT is borrowing costs go up. The dividend gets cut to 4%. The stock price drops 40%. Robert is now getting $8,000 a year on a position worth $120,000. He lost $80,000 in principal, and his income got cut by more than half in 14 months. Robert did not buy a bad company. He bought the wrong kind of company for retirement. The dividend investors who actually succeed focus on something completely different. Return of their money, not return on their money. That means companies with conservative balance sheets, long histories of raising their dividend every single year, and payout ratios low enough that a bad quarter doesn't trigger a cut. Those companies pay 3 to 5%, not 9%. On $600,000, that is $18,000 to $30,000 a year. And historically, those dividends have grown faster than inflation without you buying a single additional share. Dividend stocks are the upgrade, not the foundation. Build the index fund base first, then layer dividends on top. If you want more yield and you are willing to do the homework on what you buy, drop a comment. Have you ever chased a high-yield dividend and regretted it? I read every single comment on this channel. If the 0% tax rate in Asset 1 surprised you, hit the like button. It genuinely helps me know which of these to keep making. The index fund and the dividend portfolio. You can walk away from either of these next month. They are flexible, they are liquid. If you decide you hate them in year 2, you sell and you move on. What I am about to show you is different. More people have built real retirement wealth with this third asset than with any other item on this list. It has also put more people into bankruptcy. The difference between those two outcomes is not luck. It is one number, and most people never ask for it before they sign. This is the advanced play, and it is the one that ends careers if you do not build the foundation first. Asset number 3, rental real estate. Asset number 3 is rental real estate. And the internet has convinced an entire generation that buying a duplex with a 40-year mortgage is a personality trait. Let me show you what I have actually seen work. 2 people, same property, same rent, different outcome. Nancy is 59. She buys a $250,000 townhouse, puts 20% down. Mortgage is $1,400 a month. She rents it for $1,800. Cash flow, $400 a month. Not great, but fine. Then the water heater dies. $1,200. Then the tenant moves out. 2 months vacant. She loses $2,800 in rent and pays another $1,500 to turn the unit. In 6 months, her cash flow is negative $3,000. She did nothing wrong. She just didn't have enough cushion. Now here is James. James buys the same $250,000 townhouse, but he puts 30% down. Mortgage drops to $1,200. Same $1,800 rent, cash flow, $600 a month. He also keeps $15,000 in a separate account just for vacancies and repairs. When the water heater dies, he replaces it that day and does not lose sleep. Nancy is not a cautionary tale. She is a lesson. The same property, the same market, just with a $15,000 reserve account and a slightly larger down payment. Anyone can become James. But here is the honest warning I have to give you. I have noticed something over the years. The attorneys who specialize in real estate portfolios also tend to specialize in bankruptcies. That is not a coincidence. If you borrow too much, if you assume rents only go up, if you think you can handle 6 months of vacancy, you are not building wealth. You are building a house of cards. Rental real estate is the advanced play. Do not start here. Build the foundation first. Remember Robert? $410,000. Lost $80,000 on the high-yield REIT in 14 months. Skipped the foundation. Went straight for the number that looked bigger. Here is what Robert's retirement actually looks like if he had followed the order I just showed you. Full $410,000 into a simple 60/40ths index portfolio. Draws 4.5%. That is $18,450 a year. Add Social Security at 62, roughly $1,700 a month, another $20,400. Combined, $38,850 a year. In a paid-off house. That is a retirement. Not a rich retirement. A real one. Robert did not need the 9% dividend stock. He needed a different question. Robert knows that now. He is rebuilding from $330,000 instead of $410,000. It will take him 3 extra years to get back to where he started. 3 years of retirement he does not get back. You still have time to ask the right question first. Here is what you do this week. Go into your 401k or IRA. Find the expense ratio line on every fund you own. Screenshot it. If anything is above 0.5%, that number is quietly costing you more than you realize every single year. Then ask yourself one question. If I retired today, how does this portfolio produce income without me guessing when to sell? That question changes everything. If you haven't seen the videos that started this series yet, David's story on the 5 purchases retirees almost always regret, and Carol's follow-up on the 5 things worth selling before you retire. I put links in the description. Those 2 videos cover the other side of this conversation. Carol watched the first one. She said it saved her about $19,000. I know this is not easy to sit with. Realizing the way you have been saving might not be the way you should be spending. That is heavy. But you are asking the right question now. And that is the part that matters. Take care of yourself this week. I will see you in the next one. This is Maya. Retire with Maya. Real numbers. Real decisions right for you. The best retirement asset is not a stock or a house. It is the confidence to stop guessing. Bye, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.